Hi, I'm Steve Fulgoni, and we're here again today in my wood turning shop. And today we're going to talk about how to sharpen a swept back or Irish grind onto a wood turning bowl gouge. First of all, let's take a look at what that is. This here is what's called a standard grind on a bowl gouge, and it's typically what you would get when you purchase a tool from a manufacturer. Now this tool here is what we call a swept back, Irish grind, or Ellsworth grind. Now the characteristics of this tool, as opposed to this one here, is that the wing on the tool is swept back from the original squared off cross section. And what this does for you is this makes this tool into a combination tool. You typically cut down here in this section of the flute, and by holding over the tool, you can scrape, shear scrape, and do several other cuts with the other parts of the tool. So it makes this tool a little more versatile, have a few more applications than just a standard grind. So many of my fellow club members ask me, how do I turn this tool into a swept back grind? Now, one more thing to note, this is not the only swept back grind that there is. For example, there's one here. Difference between these two is that in the lower one, this front angle here is sharper. So the angle from here to here on this tool is about 45, 48 degrees. And on this tool, it's about 60 or 65. And then, of course, what's even more obvious is the length of which the wing is swept back. So we'll cover how to sharpen this tool in another video. But right here now, we're going to work on this one. Okay. Just put these aside. Now, many of you are familiar with the Wolverine grinding setup from One Way and the Varigrind attachment. What's special about the swept back grind is that you can't simply come up to the grinder, put this in here like you would a standard roughing gouge, turn this back and forth and grind this tool. It's a compound motion which consists of turning the tool and swinging it from left to right. So the Wolverine Varigrind attachment, as well as others on the market, do a really good job of helping you do that. Again, there are some other YouTube videos that I've posted which show how to set this up for different angles. Today we're just going to be talking about this tool and this angle right here. Now, take this out for a second. One of the first things that you need to do, you can see the huge difference in the wings up here and the wings here between the two tools. We need to get most of that bulk material away, and we're going to do that freehand on the grinder, without a tool rest and without the Varigrind. First thing, I'm going to step over here and get my glasses. Never ever use a grinder without safety glasses. Your eyes are irreplaceable. So, again, this is a 5/8" bowl gouge from Hurricane Turning Tools, high-speed steel, a really good intermediate gouge. Okay, so what I'm going to do is put this tool on the grinder this way to remove most of the bulk material. So let's do that. Make sure, if you're going to do this, make sure that your plate and everything is out of the way so there's nothing to catch on to. So you can see I'm starting to remove those corners, starting to get that the swept back shape that I'm looking for. Okay, so we're starting to get closer. Starting to get closer to this shape right here. But now, as you can see, we have a lot of material to remove on this side and this side. I can put it in my Varigrind jig right now, but I'm going to do this freehand. So you can see, I'm starting to thin down the metal in the sides. Come on this side. This stone is an 80 grit CBN wheel. Okay, so you can see I'm starting to get this shape. Now we can put it into our one-way setup. I put my fingers here on this grinder with the CBN wheel. Never try that with a regular stone wheel. Okay, so now I'm going to install my arm system. This is the arm system from Don Geiger, Florida, called his Vertical Solution. I cover this in another video. But again, what we're trying to do here is with this step, this is a spacer that Don has provided so that we can slide this in, lock this down, and now this provides a constant distance from here to here. You can make this for yours out of plywood or whatever you might want. Most important thing is that it's consistent. I've set my height here on Don's system to 3 inches, and on the Wolverine system, I count down these notches. This is the 5th notch down. That setup on my grinder here, that distance, 3 inches high, 5th notch here, is going to give me about 60 degrees on the front angle and a sweep back like I showed you earlier. Now, the process is going to be to go from this side to this side and back and forth. Okay? Now, one of the mistakes that people make is they start in the tip and they grind away the tip and you get this big scooping hollow right in here. Big scooping hollow. It's very, very easy to over sharpen the tip. So we are going to do both sides until we're just about done on both sides. Then we'll blend the tip. One thing that's a common misconception also is that the jig is 100% foolproof. It is not. You have to be careful and shape, looking at what your shape is, looking at your shape, whether you want a straight back wing or a curved wing, you have to develop that. What I'm going to do here is start with my roughing on the 80 grit side of my grinder, and then when we get down to the final polishing, we'll move over to the 180 grit side. So let's turn this on, and you're going to see me do left side and right side. I'm not even going to touch the tip right now. So I'm looking right here, and I'm watching this wing develop. So I'm watching the wing develop. Still, as you can see here, I hope you can see that in the video, I'm not even close to having an edge yet. I have, oh, maybe a 64th of an inch. So, you know the old rule, if you can see the edge, you don't have one. Now, normally I would move over to the other side, but I'm not for the sake of the camera. Okay, so the wing, I'll show you here in the camera. So the wing is starting to develop. Again, if we look at the tip, I haven't touched the tip yet. Have a little bit of a facet here, which again, it's not that important because some turners grind this away anyway. But for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to do the whole tool. Okay, so you can start to see that shape develop. Now my front angle is way, way off, so I'm going to come to the front and start to work on this front. I go quickly through the front, spending a lot less time in the front than I did on the sides. Okay, have a little bit of a shoulder down in here, which again, you know, if this were a really expensive tool, you might want to save every bit of steel that you can, so just leave it at that. You know, you have a short bevel there. Okay, that's a good view of it. Okay, but if I look here, again, I'm not sure if you can tell. Let's see. If you look here, you can still see a little bit of the cross section of steel, so I don't have a good edge yet. Do a little bit more. I hope you can tell that I'm spending a lot less time on the nose. Okay, I'm going to stop the grinder, take this out of the tool for now. Actually, I'll do one more thing. Especially on a new gouge, when you're removing so much material from the front, you can actually lose your depth. So I'm going to put it back in here. Yep, I came back about a 32nd of an inch. So again, when you're making drastic changes on the profile of the gouge like this, you may want to go back and set your depth a second time. Okay? All right, so there we go. I'm going to take this out, show it to you. Stop the grinder. Okay, so here's what we have so far. Little bit of a heel there. Now this is, as I mentioned, an 80 grit stone, which is fine, and a lot of turners will stop there, but I'm going to move over now to the 180 grit side. So, again, that's the beauty of Don's system, Don Geiger's system. In that I will just take this out, put this in here. The size of these two wheels really don't change on the CBN wheels, but if you have stone wheels, you could have very, very different sizes between the two. So that's why we're indexing off the face of the wheel, because regardless of the size of your stone, you're going to have this same distance. Okay? I'm going to set my depth again with the depth gauge in the front of this system. Okay, hope you can see that. All right, now here we go. A little bit hard here. I'm trying to make room for the camera. Normally I would be a lot closer, almost on top of this. Okay, now I'll take a close look, see if you can see that. Take a little air. Another incredible thing about these CBN wheels is that they don't generate any stone dust. It's only steel, so you have to be careful. So what I'm going to do here, just to make sure I'm getting the entire entire surface of the bevel, I'll put a little red marker on it. You can check my depth once again. Again, normally, if the gouge is not new, you just do that one time. Okay, I'm going to start on the side. Go quickly past the middle, not to overgrind. Just do a little final shaping. Remember what I said earlier, it's not automatic. You have to make the shape. Take that off, and there you have it. So that's it. I hope I was helpful in showing you how to take a standard bowl gouge grind and converting it into a swept back grind. I'm Steve Fulgoni, and thanks for watching.